Relinquishing control. I have what I think is a very simple example of, like, practically speaking, what that looks like when we relinquish control. Matt Kahn said something very profound in his apathy episode of Angel Academy 14, which was, we want to be open and receptive to our desires while also not trying to control them. And again, that is a very simple idea and pretty easy, pretty simple to say, as far as like, yeah, I'll be open and receiving of my desires and I won't control my desires. Sure, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Right. And then this example, this very basic example. So for a little bit of context, I have an event tomorrow for which I do not have a plan, as far as like, I have people coming and we'll be on Zoom together for roughly 2 hours, and I do not have a game plan as far as like what I will be facilitating during those 2 hours. It is very much up in the air at this point, because this is the path that I have chosen to walk for myself, as far as identifying with who I am and not what I do, allowing me to be present in any situation and allow whatever wants to flow through me to flow through me. And that is my desire. My desire is to essentially meet the group where they are in that moment. Like, to have it be as leading edge as it possibly can requires that I not plan things in advance. And so I've been doing this for a couple months now, where I've approached these sessions like this, and it is very interesting because I'm recognizing that, like, a couple months ago when I very first started, like in the couple days leading up to the event, I would get a download or a vision, a glimpse, more, that's probably the most accurate word, a glimpse into, like, basically seeing myself talking about something in the session itself. And a couple months ago when that came, I grabbed onto it like it was a friggin' life preserver, and I wrote it down. I like wrote down other stuff. I like pre-paved towards the event a little bit. Like, it was extremely I can see now, like, controlling. It was like, oh, thank God, I finally have a piece of like what I'm supposed to do tomorrow. And that energy was where I was. And this is not at all to judge, past Carly for her inadequacies or something like that. It's to paint this picture that just happened of like, okay, so I'm sitting here, the event is tomorrow, roughly 26 hours away, and here I get this glimpse and I see myself talking about something that's like really good and really cool, and like, ooh, yeah, I could see how like that piece is gonna like kind of weave into this, and like, ooh, that thread's gonna unfold, and I got this glimpse of, maybe just like one or two little pockets of the session itself. And my reaction, I didn't like orchestrate this. It was just like me witnessing how I was reacting to myself. And my reaction was like, thank you so much for the glimpse. That looks like it's going to be really good. And then I like went on with what I was doing. And it, like, as I moved on back into what I was doing, like, that's, oh, thank you for showing me a little glimpse. I appreciate that. That looks like it's going to be really good. Looks like you're really putting something good together behind the scenes. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know who feeds me this information to say. I don't know. I don't know how it works. It could be my subconscious brain. It could be aliens. It could be my ancestors. Who the hell cares? It's like I've figured out, I think, how to work with this flow of energy. And they don't leave me hanging up until like the minute I need to open my mouth and say something. Like, they give me these glimpses. my subconscious, the aliens, who knows? They give me these glimpses. And this morning, like just a few minutes ago, I got a glimpse about this is what the session tomorrow is going to look like. And I feel like it was the epitome, it was like literally the embodiment of that Kahn quote of, we want to be open and receptive to our desires while also not controlling them. And that like really is kind of connecting to some other dots here as I'm talking through this out loud, where it's like I don't, how to put, it's like the sensation of control, like we can't there it is, we can't try not to control, because can you see, like, that's still control. Like, that's what I'm laughing about, is like even trying to not control it is exerting some form of control, in terms of you're still trying to make it be something. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's really cracking me up, because yeah, it's like, how do you do this? Like, practically speaking, what is behind being able to not control your desires? And so I'm thinking about, like, this leads back into self-trust. This leads back into trusting the universe. This leads back into trusting your intuition. If you're picking up on a theme here, it's trust. I think there's like a security piece in all of this. There's like a, how comfortable are you in your skin kind of piece. How sure are you that you will land on your feet no matter what? Ooh, here's a better one. How sure are you that you are worthy of love no matter what action you offer? There it is. That's the one. That's the ticket. That's it right there. It's like, I know that no matter what I say when I show up to this event tomorrow and open my mouth, like, I know that none of it jeopardizes my inherent worthiness. The undivided attention that source energy has upon each and every one of us, the unconditional love that is flowing to each and every one of us, through each and every one of us 24/7, just because you're alive. Source energy loves you unconditionally just because you're alive. Your action is irrelevant. 100% of the time. That is the definition of unconditional love. Universal love loves everything in the universe without question. I think that's like the epicenter of all of this ability to trust. Every single one of these, trusting the universe, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, which in my book is your communication from the universe. Trusting anything in this physical reality requires that you feel secure in the home that is your body and your mind. And how do we get there? You know, what does that look like? How do we become secure if we don't feel secure already? And as I sit with that question, we're very much just on like a little mental hike here through Carly's consciousness. I hope you're enjoying. If you are, hit the like button. Yeah, that helps other people find this. And if you think that it would help someone else, then yeah, I really appreciate you leaving a like on the video. So yeah, as I sit with that question of how do we become secure if we feel insecure where we are right now, really makes you wonder, like, insecurity is kind of an emergent property. Like, to feel insecure is really like the lack of security. So it's kind of like the absence of something rather than its own thing. Do you see what I mean? Kind of like darkness is the absence of light. Darkness itself isn't a thing, it's an emergent property. When there is no light, it yields darkness. So I'm going to say, like, the sensation of insecurity, when you feel afraid or insecure or wobbly in your physical moment, one, I think that's totally normal. That's like the whole reason we came to Earth School. So yeah, totally normal. Let yourself off the hook. You're doing great. But how do you put security into yourself? It's like not even a matter of, again, like trying to not be insecure. That's again just controlling yourself. And what I'm gonna say worked for me, again, this is not intended to be some picture of facts. It's just my personal story. But what works for me is more of a receptive approach, more of a curious approach towards myself. And it's like, I think insecurity, another way to say it, is the emergent property that comes from at least one of your personal physical needs being unmet in that moment. So it's like, how can we be curious back towards ourself about what is it that you need right now? And I know in my past, the greatest levels of insecurity and jealousy is really the height of my insecurity, like fear of losing my partner to another person. That fear is crippling. That level of insecurity is crippling. And what I needed was to feel secure. I needed to feel like this person was never going away. That's the surface level need that I was feeling. And in understanding my need like that, clearly I needed them to never go away. That is obviously what has to happen here in order for me to feel secure. Can you hear me smiling? Because you know what? Like, again, this is not about judging past Carly or anybody who is currently sitting in a situation that sounds like that. This is about, again, getting curious towards our needs. You know, the surface level version of the need may or may not give you the answer, may or may not actually be showing you what you truly need. And again, I'm going to use my example of like that jealousy with my fear of losing my partner to another person. It's like, the reason I was scared of losing my partner is because of what they represented in my world, which at that time, I'm thinking of like a handful of different experiences that happened over the course of like, I don't know, 10, 12 years. So at that time, for a really long stretch of my life, it was like, I really, really fucking hated myself. Like, that's really the only way to put it. It was like the only thing going on inside my inner landscape was various degrees of self-loathing. I hated my personality. I hated my face. I hated my body. Like, there was just nothing except self-loathing. And so when I would form a relationship with somebody else who liked me, who even went so far as to love me, I got to hang on to them like life and death matters, because they literally are the only source of love for Carly that exists in my entire world, is this person that I'm dating. And when that's what's happening, like, what I need, what I need under the surface is love. And I have assigned the job of loving me to this other person, and then they can't go anywhere. I physically require that they stay next to me at all times. And if they're not there, I melt down like almost instantly because when they leave, when they even just like for a weekend go away or go on vacation, like away from me for a little extended period of time, it is like where you've been able to find some warmth, some light, and then they go on vacation for 10 days and it plunges you back into the icy depths of being alone with yourself, with your own self-hatred. No wonder I needed them around. But them loving me, like providing love to me, is not their job, that's my job. And that is the benefit, I think, of like getting really curious with what you need. Because until you can figure out how to meet it yourself, you will be insecure. When you're depending on other people to take care of what you personally need as an adult, especially like obviously when we're children, like we are born into a state of being 100% dependent, and liberating ourselves from dependency. That is basically what maturing is, like figuring out how to be secure, maturing your energy, becoming an adult. Some people live 80, 90 years on this planet and never become an adult. Don't let them fool you. Doing that is a matter of learning how to meet your own needs. And like I said, like that surface level need of I need my partner to stay with me forever, I can't meet that by myself, because that means that I have to remove free will from another human being in order for me to get my needs met. I'm thinking that's down the wrong path. I'm thinking that's the wrong track of thought, like I don't really want to keep somebody prisoner just so that I can feel safe and secure in my world. I genuinely want to know how how do I meet all of my needs myself? And so I practice, like I don't think I'm an expert at this, but I do think that I know I've been practicing for a while of turning towards myself, turning my attention towards myself and asking, what is it that you need? And at this point, I don't want to paint the picture to be that specific, because it pretty much like goes back around to kind of letting my intuition lead the way. Like I've learned how, when your stomach growls and you're hungry, go get something to eat. When your mouth is dry and you're thirsty, go get something to drink. When you get this idea in your head that sounds like the funnest thing that you could possibly do is like look up the exact time of the Pisces full moon, freaking go look it up. Like follow your intuition. It's communicating with you on a ton of different levels, and it is guiding you towards meeting your own needs. And sometimes that means feed yourself. Sometimes that means water yourself. Sometimes that means feed yourself on a mental level, like satiate your curiosity. That's feeding yourself. Follow your own intuition and watch it work out for you. That is feeding your confidence in yourself. That's feeding the confidence that you have in your own judgment and your ability to make decisions. That's feeding your self-respect, because you are listening to yourself and following it through to see what comes out of it. Like, you can feed yourself and feed your needs on so many different levels when you really get curious, not about the surface level need, but what's driving it underneath the surface. And until you've gotten to a place where, oh, yep, there it is, I can meet that for myself, then we're still dealing in surface level versions of those needs. If you need anybody in the world to do anything, You're dealing in a surface level of that need, and you will remain insecure until you can get underneath the surface to the bottom of the root of what are you truly hungry for, and then feed yourself. So, yeah, I hope this has been helpful. If it has, like I said, please put a like on the video. That helps other people to find it so that maybe it can help them too.